Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Sarah, also known as LaughLoveLangella, and in today's video I figured we would do some floral styling. That is one of my most requested and complimented sections here on my YouTube channel. All things seasonal. I always get lots and lots of inquiries about making my floral arrangements. How do you make it happen to look like mine, kind of thing. I just want to preface by saying I am by no means a professional. This is just after years and years of just messing around with the florals that I have, tweaking it, finding what works and doesn't. So this is what works for me and how I like to style my florals. You can take what you want from it, some tips and tricks that work for you, and figure out what works in your home. But I did do this video in a 3-part series 2.5 years ago now, and it was in the spring, so they're all spring and summer centric arrangements, and I figured that we would revisit it, do 3 different fall based arrangements, but go more in depth about how I'm building it, why I'm putting this stem here and there, the importance of fluffing. It makes all the difference, tweaking your stems. So I'm getting rambly. We're gonna start off with the first fullest arrangement that I'm making today, and this one is all about florals. When it comes to my fall florals, I actually prefer to decorate with leaves more than actual floral stems, but I know so many of you love florals, and I know I mentioned in my at-home shop with me video, I'm doing the florals for my sister-in-law's wedding, and we're going 85% faux for this. So I have a lot of different stems that I've gathered for her that she's given the green light on. So I also figured I would kind of play around with some of those as well and just see what we could come up with. But we're gonna kick off with that largest, fullest floral arrangement first. So for the first styling today, we are going in a neutral rust brown direction, starting off with these foundation peony stems that I shared. They were from Home Goods and Home Sense. I found 2 different ones. So I have an orange and more of like a mauve type. So I'm mixing those together. We have some Real Touch roses from At Home. These really pretty rust cosmos are part of the fall section at Hobby Lobby. We have these moss and twig branches from At Home as well. And then these fern stems are older from Michael's for our base greenery moment. But this is what we're starting off with, and let's get into making this arrangement. So for our largest arrangement today, we are going to use my Antonia vase from McGee & Co. I love this vase. It is so beautiful. It was so large as well. I did not realize how big this actually was when I ordered it, but this is one that lives on my island all the time. I love a full statement moment, and this is perfect for that. So our first one is our fullest and our largest arrangement. So I am going to start off, I know I just shared the florals, starting off with this peony and bud stem from Home Goods and Home Sense. And what I like to do, you can hold your floral in front of your vessel and just kind of gauge how much you have to either bend or cut your stem. That's totally personal preference. I like bending versus cutting. Cutting is a permanent decision, and I am not decisive when it comes to that because I want to have lots of options for where my stems can fit. If you are not afraid to commit, by all means cut them. So I like to just kind of hold it to see about how tall or short I want my stem to be and just bend them around. A lot of them are really great faux florals these days, have wire going all the way through. Sometimes the outer coating is a little on the thinner side, and you'll notice that when you bend it, the plastic snaps, but the wire inside stays intact. Just keep that in mind. But I'll bend it around and just place it in my vessel. Now, this one is sitting a little low because this vase comes out so wide. We can always tweak later. There's not a big deal about that. But if you are like myself and like to bend versus cutting, electrical tape is your best friend. And that way, if you have a vessel that's on the more fragile side, you invested in a vintage piece, you don't want to risk breaking it. Speaking from experience of breaking a vase last year, use some floral or electrical tape and tape it up so that way when you go to pull your stem out, it comes out as one piece rather than this getting stuck because of it. So just keep that in mind. I also really love in my floral arrangements, if I'm using a lot of the same stem, I like looking for different color variations. I think that can also help give a more natural appearance, because when you go out into nature, not everything is perfectly exactly the same. Obviously, you will find some of that, but that's, again, personal preference. I like mixing up and giving a little bit of variation within my arrangements. So I am placing these 3 stems in here, and I have them kind of creating a triangle. Whenever you're decorating, they say decorate in groups of 3. Decorate in odd numbers too. When you're doing your florals, do odd numbers. Now, you don't need to completely live and die by that rule. Do what works best for you. Sometimes I style with 2 stems. Sometimes I just add 1. You kind of just need to see what works for you. But for the purpose of this arrangement today, I'm using 3 of these. All right, I switched to an overhead view for you guys to get a little bit of a better idea of what's happening. Now we're gonna add in this Real Touch rose stem. This is from At Home. I love this because we have the bud, we have the bloom that's starting to open, and the one that's fully open. This looks so pretty styled. Again, I'm just bending my stem around, but when it comes to the actual florals, tweak these. Don't let them stand up perfectly straight. Some of them let you manipulate more than others, but just do your best with it. And for these, I like to kind of split my floral in between the other ones. And I'm choosing to go with the white because it's going to significantly brighten up this arrangement. You can opt to do a red rose stem. You could do a beige, like a taupe type of color. And if you see here, I have the full bloom sitting over here and the partial one on this. And then for this side, I switched it. So that way we don't have the same exact pattern happening. You want to give variation in how you are styling, the direction, color, all sorts of things like that can help make it look that much more realistic. So I'm adding these 2, and then I have a couple of these single ones, but I'm going to put these off to the side for now, add in some of our other pieces, and kind of fill in the gaps where I feel like we need another pop of brightness. So we have our arrangement on the side here, and now I'm going to go in with one of our more statement stems. I have this branch and moss one from At Home as well. And when they come, they're very straight. There's not a lot of manipulation you can do with this stem in particular because there's only 2 branches from it, but go through, bend this in different directions. You can kind of put your fingers in between and make almost like a squiggle in a way. You don't want to create 90-degree angles. That's a little bit too harsh for it to look realistic. But I will bend them as best I can. Some of these smaller ones don't have wire in them, so I will take the ones that have wire and push them in a different direction, because then it looks like I bent it differently, even though I didn't. So we're going to add 2 of these, and again, I'm just going to place it so I have one piece branching out, one kind of coming in. You can push them in between your floral stems as you wish. So we have that one there, and we'll add the other. When it comes to sourcing my faux floral stems, the more budget-friendly options I find at Hobby Lobby and At Home. Sometimes Michael's, they do tend to be a little bit pricier, but if you shop their sales, you can get some at really great prices. I love finding stems from Home Goods or Home Sense. They can be slightly pricier, but nothing too crazy.
I also love to source my stems from a floral. That's where you'll find those more unique investment pieces that truly stand the test of time, but that is where I do find most of my stems.
Now we're going to throw in a couple of these cosmos, again, bending them around because these come very, very straight. These ones, I will say, are the easiest by far to bend, and they look so much better when you do. Now we have these fern stems that we're going to add in, and I'm going to do my very best with this. But for placement, I like to kind of find the in-between of two stems, tuck it down, and then take the different branches, and I'll push it on one side of one side of another. So that way I'm getting more coverage with one stem than just grouping it right in between these two here. Something else that's also super, super important to keep in mind when you are making your floral arrangements is where is it going? So because this one is styled on a kitchen island, I need to make sure that this is balanced from every single side. There is no back, it's not pushed against a mirror or a wall. And so if I just try to style at the front, it's going to fall flat in the back. So if you can see, I have this handled from every single direction. So that way, no matter where you are walking in my kitchen, everything is nice and balanced. And don't be afraid to, after you place them, tweak this around a little bit more. Maybe something's falling a little flat, pull it out, swap things around. Don't be afraid to move them.
Now I'm taking those remaining 2 white roses that I had and filling in where I feel like it needs a little pop of brightness.
And here is a finished look at our first arrangement today. For our next arrangement, we're going with leaves. This is my safe space. This is what I love for fall decorating, but I want to add a little bit more depth in my early fall decorating. And I referenced this in a video about my fall florals where I just showcased my favorite floral stems. I didn't build arrangements, but I have these beautiful maple ones from At Home. These are perfect for transitioning. We have this darker burgundy one from Hobby Lobby. This is a look for less for the purple ones from A Floral that I do have and love, but the burgundy pairs better with these than the purple. So I have these to add a little bit more depth, bring it more to that true fall season. And for some texture, I have these Pinecone and twig stems. They were from A Floral. I got them on clearance. They sold out super fast. So these are not available anymore, unfortunately, but we're going to keep it simple, but still have some fun with it, adding in some variation. All right, now we are moving into one of my favorite things, leaf stems. Now this is one that I have fluffed quite a few times now. You will notice over time, the more that you fluff your stems, the more they keep their fluff shape. Even if you collapse them down for the season and pack them away, they're still not going to have that stiff as a board look as when you first get them. So it gets easier and easier over time, but you can see I have a more relaxed approach of fluffing this. So that way from every angle, it gives a nice balanced look to it. So I'm going to start off with these, and I'm going to use one of my favorite pots. This is from Golden Oldies. I picked this up over the summer. Whenever it comes to your vases and vessels, I really think that is where you want to invest in. Good foundational pieces like this work all year round. You do not need to seasonally swap them out. You can give them a different look, putting them on different surfaces. I've styled this on our shelves for fall. I also did it on the coffee table as well. It can go anywhere and everywhere. And looking at different textures and variation in your vessels also adds a lot in addition to your florals. So I like looking for woods. I have the wicker of the Antonia one. We're going to do a ceramic question mark. I don't really know what that one is. But this stuff can add a lot of visual interest in a space. Also adds a lot of character when you're doing something like this. So they actually did add some to their Etsy shop. I believe that there are only 4 left. They're all different. One of them is very dark. One of them looks kind of like this one. Check the dimensions because this is quite large, but she's beautiful and we love her. So we're gonna style this one. My buddy is sleeping right now, so I'm talking a little bit too loud. We're going to style this one with some leaves. So like I said before, we're starting off with these at-home maple leaf stems. And again, just bending them to see how far out I want them to go. I like to leave it so that the very base of my stem is slightly popping out from my vessel. So if you find that it's crowding significantly, maybe grab a bigger one, but you can mess around and see what works for you. So we're going to place this one in first. And then because we are doing a few different stems, I like to alternate which ones I place. So I won't just put every single one of these in and then every single one of the other one in. That way, sometimes you can find that they cluster, so you'll end up with it a little heavy on the other side versus not. So I'm going to take one of these burgundy ones now. We're going to fluff it up because fluffing makes all the difference. Even my daughter, I was messing around with the stems earlier. I'll put a clip of it over this. And she was fluffing too. Even she knows what's up with this. So if my 8-month-old can fluff a stem, so can you. All right, so this one is now fluffed up a little bit. The leaves could come out just slightly more. These literally are fresh out of my underbed storage. So that's why they're a little bit compressed more than usual. But again, because we have 2 different branches here, I'm going to offset it by having the maple leaf end up in the middle of them. And that way we're gonna get a more balanced look. And you'll see this one here is kind of like sticking a little bit too much that way. I'm just gonna bend it the other direction. So that way we're kind of trailing around this here rather than getting too heavy on one side. And again, because we're using so many, I'm going to now go in with our 3rd stem and just place one of these. Also placing the leaves in between so that they're intertwined a little bit better. Pull them through kind of thing. And these ones stick up very, very straight. So some of them you can tweak a little bit better than others. This Pinecone and twig stem has such a thick base to it that it's actually really hard to tweak the bottom portion. So I'm more so focusing on the top and then ever so slightly bending the bottom. Please do be careful. Some stems cannot withstand getting manipulated very heavily and they will break. I've had that happen with a couple of mine. So just start slow and see where you go with it. I don't want you guys breaking stems because I told you to bend them. So kind of trial and error, see how it goes. But I'm going to kind of tuck this a little bit better in here. Have this one fluff up a little bit. And because I don't want to end up with a cluster of one versus the other, I'm going to use 3 maple leaf ones and 2 burgundy ones so I can get like a full wraparound of it. Again, fluffed stems make all the difference in the world. I always like to fluff mine before I place them in my arrangement, and then I will fluff them more once they are in the arrangement. So I'll place it in here, I'll say, ooh, I really wish that this was bending this way a little bit more, and bend it. It's not permanent. You can bend it back if you don't like how it looks. Sometimes you can get like a cluster of them at the bottom. It happens. But like the bottom ones down here, I kind of like some of them to drape down a little bit so they're not just all sticking straight up.
So again, I'm fluffing up this stem really well before placing it in between these other 2 maple leaf ones. These were from Hobby Lobby. I purchased them last year. I do know that they brought them back, but I have not personally seen them in my store. I've only made a trip out to one of them. But if you're able to get your hands on them, they are awesome. They also have a matching garland and a wreath to it as well if you're looking for a cohesive look. And now we're adding that second pinecone and twig stem and our third maple leaf one. So this is going for a very big statement, full arrangement look, transitioning into the fall season. And here is a finished look at our second arrangement styling today.
And for our last styling today, I'm using these dried look hydrangeas from Hobby Lobby. My friend is awake now. I want a variation of color, so that's why we're doing the 3 of them. We have some blackberry stems to add some visual interest and some seeded eucalyptus for our greenery. Moving on to the last one, I have this larger vase. It's quite heavy, actually. This is from Target about 3 or 4 years ago now. I've had this for quite some time. I love this. I also have the taller one, but this shorter one is perfect for coffee table arrangements. So we're doing a more low profile styling with this vase. So I have these dried look hydrangeas that I just shared with you. They are from, sorry, I keep forgetting which direction I have to go to like actually back it up. I'm still learning. I'm however many years into this, 3 years into this, and I'm still learning camera angles. So because I have 3 different colors, I don't want to just cluster all my orange together and all that. So I'm going to take them and just alternate the colors around. And I am using 7 of these because they sit kind of to the side a little bit, and then I end up with a gap in the middle. So I made sure that I grabbed enough that we could close that gap. So I'm putting in all of these here. We have that gap in the middle, but we're gonna leave that for just a moment. You can kind of push them around a little, and we're leaving this last one out for just a second. Now, with my floral styling, I like to do my base statement florals first, then add in my supporting ones, greenery, and then the fun stuff. For this one in particular, though, I'm going to do the visual interest first. Now, this is how this stem comes. super flat, super straight. It makes it look that much more fake than how fake it already is. So I'm gonna go around and just bend these in all sorts of different directions. And like some of these pieces just hang the way they hang. But you can see, sorry, I'm getting stuck on that. You can see we have like a couple here. So you're gonna separate them from each other. You're gonna go in different angles. You're going to manipulate them around, bend them, bend them, bend them, have some of them coming towards you, some away from you. You don't like how it looks, fix it kind of thing. It also depends on how you style it in your arrangement for how you want it to lay. But here we have a fluffed one. It could stand for slightly more fluffing. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm kind of just trying to get through this. You don't want to just squiggle up and down. You want to go side to side as well. So that way it's all over. So we have a fluffed versus a non-fluffed stem. And you can really tell the difference of the spread that you're going to get with this one versus the one that you didn't do with it. And now see, this center portion is still standing up really straight. I'll just bend it, kind of arching a little bit. This one's hard because it's very, very thick in the middle. But I'm going to do the best I can with it. That's all you can do in life, is the best you can. But it's the effort that counts. So still worth it. Still worth it to try. All right, so that is nice and fluffed around. So we're going to tuck it into the hydrangeas now. So here we are back on the hydrangeas. You can see it's fluffed around and such. What I'm going to do is kind of pull it in between a little bit and like pull them down. These ones are going to be sticking up a little bit more than the others. That's totally okay. And some of them can be a little bit more straight up because you're only getting about 2.5 inches on this one sticking out of it. We don't need it to stick out significantly. You can have a little bit of fun and play with it. The whole point of adding stuff like this is to give that, bless you, give that more whimsical type of touch, add some visual interest. So we're just tucking them into the sides to better incorporate it in the hydrangeas. And this other one I fluffed off camera just to spare you guys that. But we're gonna go in between these two here, tuck them in. And sometimes you'll have them like sticking up a little too much. You can bend them the opposite direction to like help have them kind of come back on themselves a little bit and like tuck it in a little bit better. It all depends on the look you're going for. Or if it doesn't work, like this one is just honestly not wanting to cooperate, I'm going to pivot and move it. And that way I can push the stem so that portion that was sticking out too far is now coming and cascading off the side instead. So I'm using it in my favor that it's sticking out too far. So now we will add in the last one. We're going to tuck that one just right in the middle here. You can pull these Blackberry ones up just slightly to get them to fluff. And now our last stem are these seeded eucalyptus, and we're going to just go in between and kind of stick some of them here, stick some of them below, just to help fill this out.
I will be sure to link any and all stems that I can in the video description down below. If it's not available to be linked, I will give you an item number, and I will also be sure to include the quantity of each stem that I used for these arrangements if you are looking to recreate them yourselves.
And here is a finished look at our last arrangement. So that is going to wrap up today's video, friends. I sure hope you enjoyed revisiting this floral arranging styling type of video. I know this was not quite as in-depth as the one I did a couple years ago, but I still hope you were able to get some tips and tricks how it can help better your arrangement styling within your home. If there's anything I didn't mention that you also find helpful in your own floral arranging, be sure to leave it down in the comments below. It's always so nice to be able to ping ideas off of each other and just everything we can do to connect and help one another is exactly what this platform is here for. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here today, friends, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.